And as before, we start with a bite of the toast. Alright. So. Should not have done that. But whatever. I'll fix that bit. So. Warriors Triumph. So. Obviously, the deck was consisted of warriors. And in case it's not apparent, this, I believe, is the point where they started shifting the ratio a bit. It's now more monster based as opposed to spell and traps. And it seems to reflect how the tone started shifting away from trap cards. Because players generally, people in general, they want it going on right now. They don't need to wait a turn for traps. But traps, let's see. I would think that traps had gotten more powerful effects. And this was also where the strategy is not entirely heavily focused on just one character. And it also seems to feature, unless I've missed my mark. Yes. It also features, this is one of the first decks that features a monster that doesn't require a specific card to special summon it, or normal summon it, or whatever. Although, it cannot be special summoned. It requires 2 tributes. I don't see this card being possibly good for nowadays, but it might work in Genesys, as the game might have, the restrictions might have caused it to slow down some. Plus, there are a good amount of ways to get monsters out onto the field easily for that tribute summon. 2, I feel, shouldn't be that difficult. And there's also the existence of double summon. But enough speculation. We're here to talk about whether or not this deck is Genesys friendly. So let's go down the list. Generally speaking, there didn't seem to be a lot of monsters on the list. But we're starting with Darkblade. Darkblade is one of those old, like Darkblade was one of those vanilla beater cards and very good stats for a level 4 beater card. This was before we had a couple of level 4 cards that had 2000 attack, which is now the standard. You want to see power creep happening in real time? Just take a look at the normal monsters and when they got released. So yes, we have Darkblade. It's taking its sweet time. There you are. I see. He's part of the Mementorians. Okay. Then, of course, as with a few of the decks of the time, we have a level card. But now this is interesting. You only get 1 copy of each of these in the deck, which seems like a bad decision to me. But let's review the effects real quick. Let's see. Mystic Swordsman. If this card attacks a face-down monster, it's automatically destroyed. And if they destroyed a card by battle. Note, by battle. So if this guy had defeated a face-down defense position monster, you don't get to use Mystic Swordsman level 4. Which I don't think is that big of an issue, because I believe the level 4 has an effect that only will activate... Oh, nope, it cannot be normal summoned. So yes, you would need level 2 to get this guy out. So off the bat, very terrible. The level monsters were very hit and miss. Let's see, at the start of the damage step, attacking face down defense position monster grants automatic destruction. And then there was Mystic Swordsman level 6. However, we're examining the deck itself. No Mystic Swordsman level 6 existed. And if I recall, level 6, I believe, only had the effect that automatically destroys defense position monsters in general. I could have missed my mark there. But yes, Mystic Swordsman level 4. And Konami didn't think to retrain these guys, which probably speaks to how popular they are. Alright. Now, here we have a mainstay of Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself. At least back in the day. The Marauding Captain. This guy is an attack draw. And it's actually quite fortuitous that this deck includes 2 of them. You would only need 1 more, perhaps, in order to ensure a certain strategy that was popularized by this guy. Let's see. Because not only does this guy special summon another level 4 lower monster, possibly another copy of this guy, because the second point being, you cannot target other warrior monsters except for this guy, which started and popularized a strategy. I believe it's called attack blocking, where you would summon Marauding Captain. Should you have another Marauding Captain in from the hand, you can special summon that guy, and until those guys leave the field, you cannot attack at all. But the only caveat is that it doesn't really have any effect protection. So 1 lightning bolt, 1 smashing ground, 1 snipe shot or ninja trap, and it's gone. But it serves as a pretty decent resource sink, I think. Though that's probably me trying to failing to play devil's advocate. So yes, Marauding Captain. Let's see. Was it? Here we go. Marauding Captain. And there were 2 of these in the deck. Let's see. Next, Mataza the Zapper. This is where... Let's see. Yes. Nope. Well, this guy... Oh yeah, I don't think I mentioned the main strategy of the deck. It's based around equip cards. And warriors do have a tendency for that. Mataza the Zapper is one of the cards that helps to utilize this effect. You will want to equip cards to this guy to boost his attack, maybe add an effect. And this card itself can make a second attack. And for some reason it has ownership loyalty. I've only seen 2 cards that have that effect. Mataza the Zapper and Blindly Loyal Goblin. And those 2, like, Blindly Loyal Goblin, I believe, had better stats, but didn't have the attacking twice deal. So yes, Mataza the Zapper. Wonder why I need to check out his Japanese name, because I don't know why he's called Mataza the Zapper. See here. I wonder if it's on this information page. Is it seriously Mataza the Zapper? Let's see. Okay. Will day. Okay. I'll just make the search real quick. Fuchimataza. Sudden attack. Surprise attack Mataza. Okay, I see it now. So, Mataza the Zapper was a localization decision. And yeah, I can understand the reason. Like, way when Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just starting out, and the darkness of the series and of the game itself was, you know, they wanted to sweep it under the rug for the child's sake. And honestly, yeah, I can see that being a good thing. You know, tone it down. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to, at the very least, gradually get the child to understand the darkness of the world that they live in, so that it doesn't become a sort of culture shock later on. And the parents really need to be there for the child's mental development. In fact, I think admit, if I can go on a side tangent here, admittedly I am autistic, Asperger's, and I don't think I would be half as functional as I am now if it wasn't for my mother, who supported me, who believed in me. Like, believed in me has a story there that I might bring up in one of my other streams. But I believe I've put another of a side tangent. So yeah, Mataza the Zapper was Surprise Attack Mataza. I wouldn't mind a reprint of that. Make it a retrain print. A retrain print. That would be interesting to see. But yeah, did I put him in yet? Yeah, there it is. Surprise Attack Mataza. Might make a warrior deck just to start spreading it around. Alright, enough of that. We gotta speed this up. So next, Command Knight. Let's see. So yes, this is an attack boost card, but this also protects itself from being attacked if there are other monsters. So it has a leg up on the likes of Chimera and Sea Star. I wonder if Command Knight had a retrain, a Link retrain. I can see that. Some Summer Thunder was probably a retrain of Lili Lightning or something. Anyways, it was Command Knight. There you are. And apparently it doesn't seem like there's a retrain. Alright, and then we've got 2 Gearfried the Iron Knights and Gearfried the Swordmaster. So Gearfried is an interesting inclusion in a deck based around equip cards, but it also includes the release restraint, I suppose. But alright, so yes, this is a possible ace monster that requires a specific monster, but 2 points. This time, they aren't just including 1 copy of the requirement card, they're including 2. My only gripe is it's possible he could add another release restraint. And Gearfried the Swordmaster, as I recall... Yes! Each time an equip card is equipped to this card, you destroy a monster your opponent controls. So that was pretty powerful at the time. It's pretty powerful at the time because there weren't a lot of ways of getting monsters on the field like there are now. But as time went on, the only useful card now is just Gearfried himself, and there was even a retrain of this guy. I wonder if the Swordmaster got a retrain, though. Anyways, Gearfried. Or is it spelled with 2 E's? Let's see, we got Gearfried the Iron Knight, and there's Gearfried the Red Eyes Iron Knight, retrained for Joey. Gearfried the Swordmaster. Let's see, Guilty Gearfried. Oops. But yes, Immortal Phoenix Gearfried, Phoenix Gearfried, Light Ray Gearfried, those guys. Then we got Guilty Gearfried, the Magical Steering Light. I wonder what that is. I'll have to look after that later. Alright, so we're a quarter in. Time for another bite. Alright. A popular mainstay card. Goblin Attack Force. As I remember stating before, vanilla beaters at level 4 topped out at 2,000. And throughout the ages, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had a tradition where if you want to augment a stat, you have to add a drawback. For one, this guy had no defense, as lore-wise, they go out, beat the heck out of people, and then they're like, alright, we did the job, we're gonna rest, and they just go to sleep. When they attack, they're changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase, and if it's changed, and the battle position cannot be changed until the end phase of the next turn. I think there was a trap card that rotates a turn, but that still wouldn't work. Because you'd still have to wait, and then that just leaves them vulnerable. And then Obnoxious Celtic Guardian. I believe it had a different name, but works here. Let's see. This is one of those cards where powerful monsters cannot destroy this card. But now, a card like Darkblade or something could take care of this card easily. Plus, it had battle protection, which isn't really powerful anymore. Battle protection isn't exactly a big thing anymore unless you've got something to give it shell, to keep it from getting destroyed by card effects. So, Goblin Attack Force. And after that first Goblin Attack Force, there have been a bunch of Goblin Forces since then. In fact, I'm going to see if I can list them out now. Oh, we got Goblin Bikers. Let's see. Goblin Circus. We've got Goblin Decoy Squad. Elite Attack Force, which was a more powerful version of Goblin Attack Force. But, I think it had an even bigger drawback for it. Goblin Black Ops. Goblin Freefall Squad. I don't believe I've seen that one. Goblin Marauding Squad, which I think worked similar to Marauding Captain, probably. At least design-wise. Goblin Pothole Squad. Recon. Oh, and then they even had a Toon version of it. Yeah. So yeah, bunch of Goblin Attack Forces over the years. Not just. Now, and another card that had a couple of retrains similar to Goblin Attack Force is Exile Force. Very weird sort of card to to include. Like, if you're not using this carefully, if you don't have a backup plan, this could leave you wide open. But back in the day, it was very effective of taking out trouble cards. Like, you just tribute this guy and say they have a blue eyes, you target it, you destroy it, it's out of the game. So, if used effectively, very powerful back in the day. But I don't see this exactly having any, even a niche use for Genesys. But now, let's see. Different Dimension Warrior Lady, on the other hand. Let's see. You'd still have to take the damage, but afterwards, it gets banished. Which now that which it does have better use, because it's an attack trap, I would say. Like, decent defense. You can set this card, the opponent attacks into it, and they're both banished. So yeah, DD Warrior Lady would be better than Exiled Force, by virtue of it doesn't leave you wide open, per se. Exiled Force. That's what it is, yeah? Yeah. Exiled Force. And Warrior Lady. Now, interestingly enough, this deck also features Warrior Lady of the Wasteland, which is highly speculated to be what Different Dimension Warrior Lady used to be. And I've also seen a Rookie Warrior Lady. I want to look that up later. But this one is pretty much a recruiter. Or, no, a floater. You know, destroyed by battle, sent to the graveyard. Special summon. Oh, excuse me. Special summon an Earth Warrior monster with 1500 less attack from the deck in attack position. So, yeah. very useful in niche situations. Let's see. Oh yeah, Rookie Warrior Lady. I remember that card now, sort of. I think it was designed to work in conjunction with Marauding Captain. Alright, moving on. Let's see, we've talked about Mystic Swordsman level 4. Great. Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. Let's see, I believe... Yes. Attacking a face-up defense position monster. At the start of the damage, attacks a face-up defense position monster. Destroy the monster. So... decent stats. Niche effect. Just a blase monster. But it's a ninja, so it's usable in that archetype. Like, all it needs is ninja in its name. Even Karakuri ninjas, even. I tried making that a thing. And then we've got Armed Samurai Benkei, which really lives up to the Benkei title. For each equip card equipped to this card, it can attack for an additional time, which works well for this deck. You can boost its attack with the equip cards, and then give it that much attacking power. It's a level 4, you can just summon it out and go right on. Problem is, it lends itself to overextending. Like, best case scenario here is you've got him, you've got 2 equip cards, possibly a couple of trap cards, one of them being possibly Blast with Chain or Kunai with Chain, something of the like. And you only got one thing, maybe a trap card, hand trap, you know, to keep you from losing Benkei and getting your field blown out. So yeah, this is a sort of all or nothing card. Sasuke. And as a kid, I used to pronounce Sasuke as Sasuke. Embarrassing, yes, I know. Okay. I wonder if, well, Benkei got a rebrand. I know that much. Under Super Heavy Samurai. Didn't it? No? Maybe it had no space. Let me see. Yeah, Super Heavy Samurai Big Benkei. So it has a space, like Big Benkei, Benkei. There was a space there. Okay. Let's see. Only 2 monsters to discuss left. That would be the boss monster himself. I believe I mentioned his big deal. I think mentioning his big deal. Yeah. It's yes. This deck being revolving around equip cards. When you summon this guy, you can equip as many of your equipped spell cards as possible to heal food. We'll look into the equip cards in a bit. But it would likely, summoning this guy would likely clog up your spell and trap zone, which generally is frowned upon because you have to have space in order to play the card. Now, Swift Guy the Fierce Knight, I believe, had a good niche use. Let's see. Yeah. Sort of. Because it's a level 7 card. However, if your back's against the wall, if this is the only card in your hand, this guy can be normal summoned without tributing. But Swift Guy the Fierce Knight got retrained into... You can special summon it if certain effects go on. I'll have to look into that. But yes. Decent card. You know, let's see here. That's the monsters, and look at that. 19 monsters as opposed to the 15 or 16. It's a much better ratio. Because, like, you would want a good amount of monsters. You want to be able to summon monsters out so your life points are protected at the very least. Now then. As I take a bite, we'll move on to spells. There's quite a few of them, since I think at least a fourth of them are equip cards. How about we start with those first? We'll start with the equip cards and the equip card support cards. Snatch Steal was popular. And it being technically an equip card, I guess we'll start with that. Snatch Steal. Equip it to a monster your opponent controls. You take control of it while equipped. And during your opponent's standby phase, they gain 1,000 life points. This has been a mainstay, except for the times that it has seen on the ban list. I believe it's recently had gotten out of it, though. So, Snatch Steal. Alrighty, we have our first pointer. Not the big one, though, as nowadays there are ways of getting around that. You can even destroy Snatch Steal itself and get your card and get your monster back. Next equip card is, there's going to be a few basic ones here. Starting with Lightning Blade. Only warriors can equip these, not a problem for the deck. Gains 800 attack, a decent boost. And it gives water monsters a disadvantage, which is a niche use. But still, 800 attack is pretty powerful. Then we've got Fusion Sword Muramasa Blade. Equipped only to a warrior, gains 800 attack, and Murasame itself cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is pretty good. It's pretty good to have, because the big thing that equip cards have is they can easily be destroyed. There's not a lot of things protecting them. You would have to set aside resources. This card having self-protection, I would think it's pretty big. Not game-changing per se, but if you want to use equip cards, something like this would be a good idea, especially if your monster requires equip cards to use its effects. So yes, Murasame Blade. Now if it requires you destroying equip cards, then no. Probably not. Lightning Blade, Murasame. Was it Lightning Blade? Yeah, it was Lightning Blade. Okay. And then we have the Wicked Breaking Flamberge Bow. One of the Guardian equipments. which I remember the pamphlet this deck came with, suggested some of the Guardian weapons, as well as the Guardian monsters themselves. You know, the thing of it, the Guardian monsters and Guardian weapons are hand in hand, as they require the equip spell to be on the field in order to summon them, for them to be present. Bow's Breaking Flamberge. Let's see. Send a card from your hand to the graveyard. Target monster in the field. Equip this card to that target. It gains 500 attack. Negate the effects of the opponent's monsters destroyed by Bell with the equipped monster. So this card, average boost. Sending a card from your hand to the graveyard might be useful. And this, the effect, negating the effects of monsters destroyed by Bell with the equipped monster, prevents floating effects. It prevents recruitment. Anyways. And then here is what I think is the ace equipment card of the deck. Let me see here. Right. So yes. Equipped to a warrior monster. Gains 300 attack. Blase. Not very good, but it is an equip card that this deck requires you to have. And during your main phase, you can return this card to your hand from the graveyard by banishing 2 warrior monsters. So that was its big selling point there. Gains, boosts them by a dismissible amount, but in exchange, you can just keep bringing it back should it ever go to the graveyard. But again, this kind of lends itself to overextending. Let's see, so bow. And Phoenix Blade. Let's see. Divine Sword, Phoenix Blade. There you are. Okay. And then finally we have a trap card, the likes similar to Kunai with Chain. We have Blessed with Chain. Let's see. Target a monster you control, equip this card to that target. It gains 500 attack, and if this card is destroyed by a card effect, target a card on the field and destroy it. Very convoluted, useful for an equipped deck, I believe. Not so great because it itself is not an equipped card unless you activate it. And if it can't be an equipped card in the graveyard, or it can only be an equipped card while equipped to something, it lends itself to just being a niche item. Oh. And I almost forgot something. I'll be right back. I need to be having this thing charged. Let's see. But yeah, Blast with Chain. So yeah, let's put that. So that's all the equip cards. Now the equip adjacent. And it's seems that we only got one equip card adjacent card, and that would be the Fairy of the Spring. Let's see. Okay, yeah. You just straight up take an equip spell in the grave, add it to the hand. However, you can't activate it this turn. It's like you'll have it in your hand right off the bat, but there are other cards. I can see now why. I think there's a card called Equip Hole, requiring you to, I think, skip the battle phase or something. Because, like, outright just grabbing an equip card from the graveyard and equipping it to something would possibly break the game, perhaps. Yeah, it probably would. It probably would. I can see that. So putting a delay on using it is possibly a good thing. Let's see, so... Alright, now we'll just go through as normal, starting with the big hitters. We've got Heavy Storm and Giant Trinade, the two big ones that apparently are still banned to this day. And I believe they both might put this over. They have very high on the list. Let's see. We got Heavy Storm. Okay, Heavy Storm worth 20 points. Okay. And then Giant Trinade would probably be a bigger problem card. Yeah. 40 points here. So, okay, just with two cards, we're already at 67 points now. Let's see. Reinforcements of the army might add a good amount. The Warrior Returning Alive, probably not so much. But yeah, like, recent example, we're now recently getting, we have gotten a card that helps, that quote-unquote tutors a monster out now. We've got Reinforcement of the Army now. And now, they released Bonfire, of all things, that does pretty much the same thing except for Pyro monsters, which I guess Pyros up until now have had niche use. But now we have an entire archetype for it. I wonder if Bonfire got I'm sure it got hit, right? Bonfire. Fire. Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's see. Has it? Yeah, good, okay. Yeah, it's limited now. As it should be. It's limited now as it should be. Wonder if it was limited on release. Probably not. It probably was at the very least semi-limited, which would probably have made it a very big problem. But interesting that we now have Bonfire. Makes me wonder if in 10 years' time we'll have something along the lines of a Fiend Tutor. It would be interesting to have. But yes, Lightning Vortex. Lightning Vortex, a decent enough card removal with the upside of you discarding a card into your second hand, as they call it. And then Warrior Returning, so that you can get it back with Warrior Returning Alive. I don't know what I was trying to do with that. So yes, Lightning Vortex, Rhoda, Warrior Returning Alive. Reinforcement of the army. Uh-oh. And there we go. Reinforcement of the army is 40 points each. This deck had 2 copies of it. We are over. It is over the point value. But now let's... Yeah, we are over. Like, even just 1. We are still over by 7 points. So, yeah, that's pretty definitive there. You know, everything else, aside from Royal Decree. Even if these were Royal Decree, would likely put it over 2. Let's have a look at that. Royal Decree. How many points is Royal Decree? Royal Decree. 10 points. Really? Royal Decree. Oh, because it negates traps, and traps aren't that popular. So yeah, Royal Decree might be a good side deck option. I thought Royal Decree was the one that did spell cards. Huh. Well, in any case, yeah. So let's start. Oh yeah, and then there's Release Restraint, which is what tributes Gearfried to special summon the Swordmaster from the hand or deck. Good. Yeah, if it was just from the deck, that would be an issue. Alright. So, we'll start with the deck review itself, and then go into the answer, which is short. So, the deck itself. Very reliant on equip cards. Decent options stat-wise. Not a lot of... No real options strategy-wise. And the fact that it has Swords of Concealing Light as opposed to Swords of Revealing Light means that this deck somewhat relies on attacking the opponent. Perhaps another copy each of Release Restraint and Gearfried might be a good idea to really hit home. Which a future deck kind of improves upon this strategy of powering up your monsters with equip cards. So, yeah. Basically, this is a recipe that can just fall by the wayside in the wake of the more recent structured deck that's based on the same strategy. Is it Genesys friendly? No, it is not. No, it is not. Let's see here. So, yeah. What was it called again? Warrior's Triumph. Is a bust.